Hi, welcome back to Build to Fish. Kerry Batson here. Looks like we're coming up on our finishing touches here with our Mag Bass 843. We have our guides all taped on with our guide spacing marks here. Today we're just going to do a little deflection here. I always do it every rod, regardless of the numbers on our guide spacing. Things can change, reel height for the most part, and so on. We like to start typically, so that most of you know, it's 25 inches the center of reel seat to the first stripper guide on your bait casters is kind of the norm. I believe this one's around 24, which is okay. So I give it a gap 24 to 27. Usually depending on the guide sizes, if you go smaller guides, you might need to run a few more guides or what have you. But this is the basic setup. We try to list on our guide spacings and so on. Today I went ahead and put a reel on here. This is your typical low profile. This happens to be one of the Daiwas, their new Tatula series, great reels. I do have 30-pound braided line on here, which is pretty common. Not that it'll affect the guide spacing and deflection much. Typically just string it through, tie it to armchair or whatever, and in your living room. It's the quickest way. It's home garage kind of build stuff. And maybe professionally you might have the right tools, rod holders, deflection boards, so on. But this is how I would do it if I'm at home making my fishing rods. So I went ahead and tied the end down here. We're just going to give it a little tightening here. What we're looking for today is that the line isn't touching the blank, or more importantly, going past the blank. Typically on a slower, softer action rod, you would see the line bend down here with this far gap. But seeing how this is a stiff mag taper, doesn't have a ton of flex, does have quite a bit on the tip. So typically we would do 4 inches from the tip and space them out either at 4 inches apart for 17 inches overall, or 3.5 inches or however softer it bends. So you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and load it up a little bit for you. You can see here it's not touching the blank at all, which is good. More importantly, it's not going past the blank, which if you were further apart, this line would definitely deflect past it like that. You don't want to see that. You can see it's pretty flat here. That's why you kind of start at 4 inches. Not a lot of bend within 4 inches of most rod blanks. Not all, but most rod blanks. And these are spaced right around 4 inches or more apart, which is cosmetically correct for the most part there. And it's got a good flex here. You don't have to pull really hard. You can kind of get an idea, because obviously these guides are going to want to spin around, because these are on top of the rod instead of spiral wrapped. So this looks like a good spacing overall. If you want to go a little more extreme, wrap each foot first, which I do on spiral wrap rods. Put the reel and line through, give it a good bend, make sure it's hitting the center of each ring. That also helps with guide alignment when you do that as well. Makes pretty much everything straight when you hit center of ring, even on spiral wraps if you can. We'll check this one more time. Let's check the fast action. Make sure the line's not hitting the blank. And this is typically deflected at 60-degree bend. If you do a 90-degree, which would be high sticking, not real fair deflection, not bending at all, 20 degrees straight, obviously it's always look good, it's not fair. So maybe try to get it at a 60-degree or so, which is normal fishing conditions. That gives you a fair guide spacing. Okay, so that's the basic rod deflection for guide spacing accuracy. I try to do every rod, regardless of what it says on the paper, the measurements, even though they're pretty close or usually close. We always advise people to build them as they would like, and to deflect each rod. Only takes a second to do. And thank you for following us. Visit us on social media for more.